Welcome back to the morning after as the Winnipeg Jets losing streak hits 4. But I think there's some encouraging signs you could take out of this one. We know the state of the team at this moment. 12 games out, now 10. We're in build back mode with the Winnipeg Jets, and obviously the clock is against them. But I thought, on the whole, this was another at least half step forward from where they were last week. This was a playoff type intensity game. And I think the Winnipeg Jets matched the Edmonton Oilers in that regard for the first and third periods. Now, make no mistake, the Oilers were the better team for the bulk of that game, especially the second period. But I also felt that the Winnipeg Jets could have left that first period up, if not for some big saves from Stuart Skinner. The goaltending in this game was great at both ends. Connor Hellebuck made a ton of 5 alarm saves, and you're going to see some of them at the end of this clip. For a guy that let in 4, he still stopped over 1 goal more than expected by the numbers. I mean, it was a great performance from him. 42 shots, no complaints there. Off the board, though, Logan Stanley jumps in the lineup, and we know scrapping is not natural for him, but he goes out there, targets Corey Perry, who I think everyone likes to see that guy get punched in the face when he's not on your team, though admittedly he's a guy I'd love to have on my own team. And the Corey Perry abuse didn't stop there. You're going to see a video of this at the end of this clip as well. Brendan Dillon puts him into the bench. Look out when the Dilly train starts going. He actually had a pretty big night. If I'm not mistaken, in rink he was the 3rd star. He had the big clap bomb, another new career high in goals for the pending UFA. But the hit, it's the old school hockey. I loved it. I love to see Corey Perry get put into a bench. Like we talked about Corey Perry getting punched in the face. Why not enjoy seeing him get thrown into a bench? On the downsides, though, the second period, the Winnipeg Jets completely fall asleep in this one. Edmonton really took over the game in the second period and just seemed to keep building and building and building on it. And we've been talking about for a while now, the specialty teams, more so the power play than the penalty kill. The absence of Gabe Vilardi has loomed large. The Winnipeg Jets had their chances on the power play and did absolutely nothing with them. There was a moment in the second period, they had a 4-minute double minor. Guess how many shots? 0. Like, it can't happen. It can't happen in a game like this where the power play is not contributing. These are supposed to be your best players. And the Winnipeg Jets' best players were not their best players last night. Mark Scheifele, was he out there other than seeing the flyby on the OT winner? Which, I mean, Kyle Connor, soft turnover, and then doesn't back check. There's a clip floating around of his back check. It's a tough look for a guy that encourages a lot of debate around his name. After the game, we heard some of the vets. I believe DeMello was interviewed. No, it was Nino Niederreiter was interviewed, and Brendan Dillon was interviewed. And there was some accountability there, but they both felt, and I do agree that this game was a step forward from where they've been. The pushback in the third was something we haven't seen much. To come back from down 2 against Edmonton was another positive step. But there was a lot of self-inflicted wounds in this, and we heard Rick Bowness tee off on that. They take a too many men penalty. A lot of silly turnovers again. It's hard to say. You know what? Puck management, it's no longer just an accident. It seems like there's just some bad habits in there. But I got to say this about Rick Bowness. And I'm an accountability guy. I like to see public accountability. But I think there's a big, big difference between going out to the media and ripping the team, and as a coach, using ice time as accountability. We have so often seen this year that there's rules for some and there's rules for others. And it's allowed all of these bad habits to creep in when you let things slip for so long. And on the top of Rick Bowness, who came back from his procedure, going off about the only thing this team is missing is hard work. You know what? It's time for some public accountability from Rick Bowness and what he's done to this roster. because a lot of their struggles can be directly related to his decision making. Let's take a look. We're on Twitter. Go check out this thread from yesterday. Because the Winnipeg Jets coaching staff, over reluctance on two players that go against everything this system is designed to go, and overplaying them is a big problem. I walked through the data. I have some video. We talk about the eye test and why it might not work. But Rick Bowness, his own decisions, and splitting up something that worked for something that didn't, and still fucking trying it for 2.5 months is a big part of the problem. Hard work doesn't just stop at the players. There is no flexibility with Rick Bowness. He has a game script, he has a line script, and that's over. You want to talk about adding some work in? Time for Rick Bowness to start working the video and working the data, because it is plain as day some of the problems this team has, and he does not address them. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting awfully tired of seeing the quote-unquote top six get absolutely demolished at 5-on-5. Like, when your depth players are your best players, it shows well in the depth, and you got to respect that from the depth. But this just can't happen, and it happens almost nightly with Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele playing together. It's unacceptable, and they still go back to it. That's on Rick Bowness at this point. You can only yell at the players so much about work ethic when you're not putting in the work behind the scenes and doing what's needed to take those steps forward and get back to this game. I'm sorry. Like, the Rick Bowness thing has gotten old for me at this point. Just keeping it blunt. But we got 10 games left here. Let's look at, there's 3 highlights I thought really stood out for me last night. Let's go out on a high. The 3 highlights of the night, let's call it. Here comes the boom. Love to see that. Old friend of Vander Kane versus Connor Hellebuck. Twice. And then